So I wondered if I was going to do this because doing something of this caliber makes you vulnerable. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean it in a good way, but it makes you vulnerable to people who think that they may have the upper edge on you or think that they know about you or can tell you this or tell you that when they really can't tell you anything. I've always been and I always shall be a firm believer that if you really want to know the truth about me, the best person to learn it from is me. I wouldn't necessarily go to Church's Chicken and order a Big Mac because I know they don't have the recipe for a Big Mac. That's McDonald's. So my wife, Miss Deidra Deneise, is in Lagos, Nigeria for 10 days. And this is a part of the relationship that I wanted to talk about, especially to fellas. Ladies, you are more than welcome to listen in, and maybe you can pass this on to your significant other or whatnot. And let's talk about it though, because I felt a certain way of letting her fly off to a country halfway around the world, and we have communications with each other, though be minimal because she is on a mission over there, and I still have duties here that I have to fulfill. This is where you really have to learn to lean on that which God teaches us, because it is a moment like this where God will stretch you, and he will stretch you to your limits, even when you think you can't take anymore, and he pours on the pressure. And it's okay. You have to believe in your mind and in your heart that it's okay. It may not feel the best, and a lot of times we take advantage of it because we don't experience it all the time, but it definitely doesn't feel the best. But you really have to lean on that which he teaches and tells us about having faith. Faith is your tool, and with that tool, you need to utilize it to speak to God. Tell him what your fears are. Tell him what you're afraid of. Ask him for the knowledge that you need to get through your task. I got a few more days to go before my wife makes it back to St. Louis, and in that time frame, I am praying for her safety. I am praying for the rest of the party's safety that went with her. I am praying for traveling grace. I am praying for my own mentality to stay in check and do what it is that I need to do and focus on taking care of business here so that we're not doubled up when she comes back. It's like I said before, we are people who like to have fun, but when it comes down to the seriousness of certain context that we need to be putting out, then that's definitely what we need to do. And this right now there's some seriousness to it, but it takes for me to come out of my shell to be able to talk to you all about what's going on in my mind, and hopefully it helps somebody. And once again, we have extended that olive branch out to people to let them know that, we talked about dating us, and it's like we like to date couples that have fun. Well, let me rephrase that. We like to have fun with people who like to have fun. We like to be around people who want to be around us. It's not that we're trying to reinvent a wheel, but basically what we are doing is giving people an opportunity to be real with themselves, to be able to communicate it, display it, and understand what it is that they are doing. Some of you guys may be in a position that I am in, where your wife travels and has to take care of tasks outside of the home and whatnot. And let me just tell you, it's okay to miss your wife, or it's okay to miss that person. Those are feelings. And a lot of times, fellas, we don't like to expose our feelings because we feel like it makes us weak, especially in this day and age where TV, things that you see on TV, things that you see on YouTube, things that you see on TikTok or Instagram influence you to not be the person that you really need to be. What it all boils down to is life will continue lifing whether you like it or not. It's not so much what you do, but it's how you do it and who you portray it to. I literally don't have a problem with telling you how I feel about my wife being halfway around the world because she is missed. She's an important part of what functions in my life, and she's not here right now. So yes, she's missed. And fellas, once you get to the point where you can admit what you're feeling, it's at that point you really understand what it is to start being a man. And ladies, don't take that as weakness, because without that understanding, you'll never know what it is to be in a real relationship. I call it like I see it. The one thing that I do want to make note of, and I don't take it lightly, but I remember before Deidra and I got married, the conversations that we had, one of the conversations that still stands true is Deidra said, look, if something happens to me today or tomorrow, you still have to serve God. You still have to have the mindset of serving God, because that's where it should not all be planted. All of your thoughts shouldn't be planted solely upon me, because then at that point, it's almost like you're idolizing me, and I don't want that. And same way with me. I have to be in the mind frame of I'm still going to serve God, whether something happens to you today or tomorrow. So I look at that, and I look back on these conversations as part of the journey to where we are today, and how to start to learn how to cope with when she has to go out of town, or when I have to go out of town for days on ends or whatnot, because truth be told, this is what we asked for. And God said, okay, you're going to speak to the nations. And in order to do that, you have to have your heart postured in a position where it is receiving what it is that God is telling you that He wants. I'll tell you, the crazy part is, as I look back over my life as a whole and look at where I once was to where I am now, and how much God has given and allowed me to grow and allowed me to be able to hear what it is that He wants done and to receive His messages. It's a total change, and I know that it has been a total change because of the people who are around me and are in my immediate circle. The people that I work with, they see a difference in me and how when things are presented to me, my reactions are not what they used to be. And I'm very much thankful for the fact of being able to perceive differently when people approach me. And some people approach with the attitude of thinking that they're going to get the old Don, and that just isn't the case. So I say all that to say this, because I don't exactly know how long this podcast will actually be. Hopefully it encourages fellas to the guys to be a little bit more in tune with what's going on, not only with themselves, but with their significant others, if you have a significant other. And if not, and you're trending towards being with a significant other or somebody that you have interest with, make sure it's for the right reasons. Make sure that you are in it for all of the right reasons, and that they are as well. And it's all right to go out and make sure that they are right for you, you should go all out because your feelings are involved. Your heart is involved. And you should be well aware of who it is that you're dealing with. And if that's not the right person, then you got to go back to God. You know, some of us need to be dating God more often so that we understand what it is that he wants and what he is presenting for us in our lives. And I really don't know how much more plainer to explain it, but that is just the gist of it. That is the nature of it. Okay, so let me touch off on some key words that I really want to expound on for this moment. The first word is cope, and the definition of cope is to deal with or manage difficult or challenging situations or problems, often with a degree of success. What I've learned or what I've seen is that most of my people don't have good coping skills. They don't know how to measure up a problem and fix it. The outlet is usually one where someone loses control of their emotions and they start wilding out. Attitude popping off and flying off at the mouth, and all because of misunderstanding of how to cope with a situation. In a relationship, you have to learn how to cope with a lot because you're dealing with your partner, your wife, your boo, or whoever. They all have different means of taking on a situation. Years ago, I used to have a real bad attitude about a lot of things, but I've learned how to cope with my bad attitude in order to achieve what it is that I want. And sometimes you have to put yourself in check. Yep, I said it. You have to put yourself in check. Why? Because if you don't, you run the risk of destroying relationships, destroying situations where it benefits you, and it just is not a good look. So learn how to be patient and how to cope with a situation before you jump to a conclusion. That jumping to conclusion may be a seclusion of illusion, and you find out in the end that it really wasn't worth it. I talked earlier about the conversation that me and my wife had about idolization, and me not idolizing her and her not idolizing me, because we are a gift to each other from God. And when you idolize someone, it means to admire them excessively, almost to the point of worship. And let me be very frank and very upfront with you. I love my wife and I love my wife dearly, but I do not idolize my wife over God. It's God first, then my wife. You know, so that goes without saying. Be careful. Be very, very careful in your relationship to be obedient to God and God's word first. Because if he can give you that significant other, that person that you've been wanting to be with, he surely can take them away from you too. So let's take it to scripture. Exodus 20, verse 3-5, and this is King James Version. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generations of them that hate me. Now you take what you want out of that, but the mere fact that he said that he is a jealous God is enough to let you know that you need to be in perspective when you are living your life. And what I mean by perspective is that your wife is your wife. She is not your God. She's a helpmeet. And Lord knows we need all the help we can get. Well, maybe not you, but I know I need all the help that I can get, especially with all the changes going on with me. Like I said earlier, I really don't know how long this is going to go on, but I'm kind of ready to wrap it up. Hopefully this is a tool that you can learn from. Ladies, if you are with somebody, maybe you might want to play this for them and let them know that it's okay to be vulnerable. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be made a mockery of or a fool of by being justifiably real. But it was necessary for me to get on here and say what I needed to say, not only to just get it off of my chest, but to be able to breathe beyond that, knowing that it's okay to feel what I feel and to be able to share it with you. So again, if it helps out, I'm glad that I was able to do something for you. Feel free to reach out, and absolutely, we love the comments that we are getting back from what it is that we're doing. We absolutely love them. So keep the comments coming, and we will keep putting out content on a regular basis soon. And I don't know exactly how soon, but soon we're going to take this to video, so it should be a little bit more exciting, because then you'll actually get to see the antics behind the people. And fortunately for you all, the phone did not ring, so I didn't have to hang up on anybody. But that being said, I'm going to wrap this up. This is the Claires, the husband side. And maybe there'll be another one later on down the road. We'll see how that works out. And I will say this again one more time as a reminder. We have extended the olive branch out, and there are going to be some couples that we will be hanging out with and that we will definitely get on the podcast and record, fellowship together, have a good time, and bring some light to people who actually want to be in meaningful relationships, not only with a significant other, but in your personal relationship with God. And that's where it should all start at, with Him first, before you go delving into another relationship with somebody you actually may not even know. You know, a lot of times people come with what we like to call side effects, but we never really figure it out till months or years down the road, and then it causes problems. And those are the problems that we try to avoid. So again, we've extended that olive branch out to you. Get with us and let's make a date out of it. And as we wind it down, I just want you all to know that I really appreciate those of you who have checked in, and like I said before, keep the comments rolling in. We love listening, looking at what you all send back. Feedback is very important, so it lets us know if we're hitting on subjects that you all like. And you may have one that you think might be worthy of talking about. Well, by all means, put it in the comments, and we'll take a look at it, we'll ponder over it, and then we'll make a suggestion, and then we'll go at it. All right, I've said enough. I've done my 20-minute due diligence. Enjoy your day, and thanks for tuning in. And let me give you my signature line. You all be peaceful, be progressive, be positive, and somewhere down the road, I'll talk with you when I walk with you, all right? Peace.